Now, you may think that this video won't have any practical applications to you non-knife makers, but it does. Especially the last portion of this video, which I'll link to in a chapter below. Because if you think high HRC numbers always correspond to a good heat treatment or low numbers always correspond to a bad heat treatment, you may want to stay tuned. So I wanted to show and talk about a couple of ways that a Rockwell tester can be fooled. There should be at least 64. Yep, 61.4. So we're artificially reading a little bit low here. Well, more so you, the operator, can be fooled into thinking something is wrong with the steel by a lower than expected hardness reading on the HRC tester. When in reality, the tester is reading accurately and the steel sample you're testing can actually be way higher than the given reading. 60, just a touch over 65 HRC. Hopefully, it goes to show that just because an HRC tester reads low or as expected, we don't necessarily have a good heat treatment or a bad heat treatment based on the numbers that we are seeing on this tester. Let me show you. So to demonstrate this, first I'll heat treat a piece of 1084 steel, and I'll put it in the kiln early. And what I mean by early is I'll put it in before we reach our Alstonizing temperature of 1475 degrees Fahrenheit. Now there's technically nothing really wrong with putting the piece in early, but what it'll do is allow a slightly larger layer of decarb to build up on the surface of the steel. Now, what is decarb? Now you can pause this here and read it, but basically it's when the carbon in the steel reacts with oxygen and forms a softer layer on the outside of the surface of the steel. Now the problem here is that this lower hardness decarb layer will sometimes run deeper into the steel than you may think, sometimes a lot deeper. And even after some grinding and the steel is nice and shiny, you can still get artificially low hardness readings because you didn't grind away enough of the decarb layer. So after quenching our test piece, I flattened one side enough for testing, and normally a freshly quenched piece of 1080 would read between 64 and 65, maybe even a touch higher HRC. There should be at least 64. Yep, 61.4. Yep, 59.5. So this piece right here is definitely not 59.5, or it shouldn't be that, considering the heat treatment protocol that we just put it through. So we're getting an accurate reading, but it's not telling us the entire story of what's going on inside this little steel block here. When in reality, if you really make sure you grind through that layer, you'll get the actual hardness of the steel and not a false impression of what you think the steel actually is. Okay, so we've made it somewhat shiny at this point, and we're going to hardness test this again, and I'm going to show you, hopefully, that what happens is that we still get artificially low readings, and that's because we're not fully through that decarb layer. Yep, we're still at 61, just a touch over 61 HRC, even though we have a nice shiny piece here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off a lot more material this time, and we're going to get fully through this decarb layer. We'll test it again, and hopefully we should see these HRC numbers come up. All right, look, we've got a 65.5. We went from getting really low, kind of sporadic readings to getting like 64 to 65 HRC on the same piece. Now watch, I'll flip this over, and we're probably going to get a little bit different readings where we have not ground all the way through that decarb layer. All right, look, we're getting a really, really low weird reading here, 36. So if you're a knife maker and there's a possibility of someone other than yourself testing your blades, make sure you grind enough material away after heat treatment to get a good reading. Otherwise, you may get some artificially low readings from someone who doesn't necessarily know that you didn't surface grind away enough material after heat treatment, and it could be that decarb layer that they're actually reading. Now this doesn't really matter for the knife cutting edge itself after it's done being manufactured, since during the finish grinding of the bevels and sharpening, after heat treatment will be enough to expose that good hard steel. It really only matters on the flats or where the knife would be tested by an HRC tester. Now keep in mind, not all steel will suffer from this. High alloy air hardening steels will typically either be foil wrapped or heat treated in a kiln with inert gas injection to keep the steel from being exposed to oxygen during heat treating. And typically you won't see any decarb when using these methods. Now this is just one thing that can give you low readings. readings. Another thing is flatness. A lot of knives, even from the factory, are not flat enough to give accurate readings. And if an unexpectedly low reading occurs on a certain area, you need to test another area, as well as flipping the blade and testing the other side for confirmation. Now, I actually ran into this problem with the $10 D2 knife from Walmart when I did a video on this knife. Now, one more thing, which I can't really show you an example of because I no longer use this steel for this exact reason, is you can actually case harden shallow hardening steels like 1095 by not quenching them fast enough. And what this does is it hardens the very surface of the steel while leaving the middle still gooey. In other words, our knife didn't through harden all the way. And when we take a reading, our tester may read 66 HRC on the surface, when in reality, the middle is still 43 HRC. Now, I happen to know this because it's happened to me. And I no longer use those steels like 1095 due to how fussy they are during heat treatment. Now, one more thing to touch on here is just because two pieces of steel are the same hardness doesn't mean they are equal in their heat treatment. So I did another test coupon where I badly heat treated it. Basically, this piece of 1080 steel sat at 1800 degrees for about 35 minutes. This is way too hot for way too long, and we get significant grain growth as a result. This would be a very bad heat treatment. We then do a lot of grinding to grind through that heavy decarb layer, which was thick, by the way.
Yep, 59. So we're still not through that decarb layer.
So it's back to the grinder for more grinding, and we test again once we're finally sure that we're through.
60, just a touch over 65 HRC.
So what we have here is we have two pieces of 1080 steel. One has a nice super fine grain and good heat treatment at 64 to 65 HRC. The other is super badly heat treated, has large grain, and yet we still read 64 to 65 HRC, same as our good piece. So these are just several examples of why hardness isn't everything, as well as how important it is to consider everything during the making process when determining whether or not you indeed have a quality heat treatment. And this is hard to do as a consumer or even as a reviewer with an HRC tester when reviewing manufacturers' knives, because we don't know exactly what happened to the blade during the heat treatment process. And therefore, the hardness number is only that, a hardness number. And it's for this reason that I believe that the garage type edge retention testing and reviews that you see all over YouTube, including some of my own, are so important and can be useful when reviewing knives we don't know the history of, because hardness is only that. Hardness. It tells us nothing about the actual heat treatment quality in a lot of these steels, because how you reach that hardness also matters. Now, the only thing that hardness really has a direct correlation to is edge retention. Harder is almost always better for edge retention, including in badly heat treated blades. But there's other things to consider: sharpenability, how sharp the knife gets, apex stability, apex toughness, etc. All these things also have to do with heat treatment quality, not just hardness. So this is all something to keep in mind when we are discussing hardness numbers in the knife world. I will link to an old video down below where I compare two knives, one with a good heat treatment and one with a bad heat treatment, doing knife things. And this definitely shows the difference between what you can expect between a good heat treatment and a bad heat treatment in actual use.